decertify the election. That is the demand coming from none other than the former president, Donald Trump. And it comes in a new letter to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. The secretary is out front exclusively tonight to respond for the first time to Trump's new attempt to overturn the results of the election nearly 11 months after the election. So Trump claims in his letter that there is a new report of invalid ballots and says, quote, "I would respectfully request that your department check this, and if true, along with many other claims of voter fraud and voter irregularities, start the process of decertifying the election or whatever the correct legal remedy is and announce the true winner." Now, I just want to be clear that that letter was sent 3 days ago. The election, of course, was 321 days ago. The election results have been certified and audited again and again, and the true winner is still Joe Biden. Trump did not win 321 days ago in Georgia, and there has been zero evidence since to change that. In fact, in Georgia, just the state of Georgia alone, they have performed 3 recounts and numerous investigations. So not only is the letter baseless, but it again shows that Trump doesn't care at all about the rule of law. In fact, he refers to Joe Biden as an illegitimate president. Now, there is already an ongoing criminal investigation into Trump's earlier attempts to pressure Raffensperger to overturn the election. If you don't remember why, you may want to refresh your memory, because it's partly because of this call that Trump made to Raffensperger on January 2nd while Trump was still president.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
No, he did not win the state. Out front now, the Republican Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, who is also the author of an upcoming book about the election and what he went through in standing up to Trump for the facts on the vote. And his book is called Integrity Counts. So, Secretary Raffensperger, I appreciate your time talking to you about this. This is the first time you're commenting on this new letter from the president, which he refers to Joe Biden as an illegitimate president. What was your initial reaction when you read the letter?
Well, good evening, Erin. Thanks for having me. Well, I'm a lifelong Republican. At the end of the day, I have to always put, my duty to the Constitution and to our country above all. At the end of the day, we've done audits, we've done investigations, and some of those are still ongoing, so I can't comment on those. But Vice President Biden did carry the state of Georgia.
So let me ask you about the timing here. You got this letter 3 days ago. The election was 321 days ago. Were you, even given what he said to you on the phone, even given the things he said before, were you surprised to receive this letter 3 days ago?
I think at some level, he must know that he did lose the election because his advisors, his lawyers told him that he lost the election. In fact, books are coming out that told him where the polling was coming into the election. But people use elections and this narrative to really disrupt and destroy confidence in the election process. Like you said, we've done 3 counts on this. The initial count, 100% hand recount, and then did a final scan count. And all 3 results were very close. And at the end of the day, President Trump came up short in Georgia. We checked and ran the trap lines on every allegation that was made. I wrote a 10-page letter to Congress, and I've highlighted all of that in my upcoming book. It's called Integrity Counts because integrity does count. It always has and always will.
Well, I hope you're right in that. I believe in that myself. I want to read a specific claim that Trump makes in this letter, Secretary. He says, enclosed is a report of 43,000 absentee ballot votes counted in DeKalb County that violated the chain of custody rules, making them invalid. Now, he's referring, of course, as you know, to a report from a pro-Trump website, which does not question the voters or the ballots themselves, right? But they actually, their questioning is on how fast the ballots were actually transported. So,
Well,
they
exactly.
yeah, go ahead. Tell me your response.
As soon as we were notified of that, we began an investigation several weeks ago. And coming out of that, the first thing that you noticed is that the DeKalb County election official took an extended leave of absence. But we have an ongoing investigation of that. But to your point, the ballots themselves were approved and are lawful ballots. But where processes violated, that's where we're investigating right now. And that'll come before the state election board.
So why do you think Trump sent this letter now? I mean, as opposed to, he's had 11 months, and obviously he's been very vocal in those 11 months. But why do you think he sent this letter now?
Well, he's been leaning into and propagating the big lie, and he's been fundraising off this issue. I know he'll be here in Georgia this coming weekend. So you'd have to ask him what his motivations were. But at the end of the day, we've looked at every single allegation that's been made, and we've really wanted to make sure that we have true and accurate results. People said that there were thousands of dead people that voted. It was less than a handful. They also told us that over 66,000 underage voters voted. There was zero. They talked about unregistered voters voting. There were none of that. And so we have really made sure that we've been very thoughtful and thorough in our responses. But President Trump came up short in Georgia.
So let me ask you, obviously you're laying all this out very clearly here to me in our conversation. Do you plan to offer a formal response to him, or is this it?
Well, while we have an ongoing investigation, we'll let them finish up their work, and then they'll report it to the state election board, and that'll be the answer.
So I want to ask you something else. You talk about integrity counts, and you've been very clear about that, and you have stood up courageously to the president when others would not, certainly not publicly. But you did say recently you wouldn't comply if the January 6th Congressional Committee subpoenas you. And obviously, January 6th is related to the president, the former president, and the big lie. So explain to me why you wouldn't comply if they wanted to talk to you. Just what's your logic?
Well, we wanted to see if they're going to issue a subpoena. I feel like I had a conversation with President Trump. It's a 1-hour conversation. It's all out there in the public domain. We really right now are focused on implementing all the election law changes that we had with SB 202. We have a lot of elections this fall with our municipal elections. We have work to do here. And so if this is just going to be a sideshow up in Washington, we really want to be focused on what we need to do here in Georgia.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time, Secretary. Thank you very much. As always, I said to you before we even came to air, I said, I'm sorry we have to talk about this again, yet here we are, and I'm glad you do, because I think it makes a difference, and I appreciate it.